Welcome, everybody. So what we're going to do today is a brief introduction to graphing. There's a lot of information in this section. In this section, we're going to find the x and y intercepts of an equation, graph linear equations, find the distance between 2 points, find the midpoint of a segment, find the equation of a circle, the center and radius of a circle, and graph equations of circles. What we're going to do specifically today in this screencast is we're going to focus on finding the x and y intercepts of an equation and graphing linear equations. We're going to do that using the x and y intercepts and using our graphing calculator. So let's get started and talk specifically about finding x and y intercepts of an equation. So consider the equation 2x plus 3y equals 18. How many solutions does this equation have? And what do those solutions look like? What are the x and y intercepts? And how do I graph the equation? These are some of the questions that we want to answer. So first of all, how many solutions does it have? Well, if we plug a 6 in for x and a 2 in for y, this equation will be true because 2 times 6 plus 3 times 2 is equal to 18. So one of our solutions is when x is 6 and y is 2. But that's not the only solution. We also have a solution when x is 3 and y is 4. The check is here. And we have a solution when x is 3/2 and y is 5. These are just 3 solutions. There are an infinite number of solutions to this equation. You're probably familiar with seeing those in a table. So the x values are written in this column and the y values are written in this column. And what those solutions look like are ordered pairs. So the ordered pair 6, 2 is related to when x is 6 and y is 2. So here are the 3 solutions written in a table. Now, what does this look like when we graph it? And then when we graph it, what are the x and the y intercepts? Well, the graph of the solutions looks like this. It's a linear equation. Every single point that this line goes through is a solution to this equation. The solution 3, 4 is shown here. When x is 6 and y is 2, that's this point. You can see that's on the line. When x is 3/2, which is 1.5, and y is 5, you can see that solution as well. So the x and the y intercepts are pointed out in this graphic. So the x-intercept is where this line goes through the x-axis, and the y-intercept is where it goes through the y-axis. So the x-intercept is 6. The y-intercept is 6, and the x-intercept is 9. So the y-intercept right here is an ordered pair 0, 6. The y-intercept is 6. And the x-intercept is 9, 9, 0. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start with another equation. 2x minus 4y equals -8. And we want to talk about how we find those x and y intercepts algebraically. To find the x-intercept, we're going to let y equal 0. So you're simply going to plug 0 for y in this equation and solve for x. The solution is shown here. So the x-intercept, when y is 0, is -4. So the graph goes through the point -4, 0. Now, to find the y-intercept, we're going to let x equal 0. And here's the solution. So the graph goes through the point 0, 2 on the y-axis. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you're going to do this when you're on MyMathLab. So this is one of the problems, homework problems, that you're going to see in your first assignment. So I'll show it to you on MyMathLab. So here's what the equation looks like on MyMathLab. Use the intercepts to graph the equation 3x minus 9y equals 27. First, you're going to have to find the x and the y intercepts. I've done this for you here. Just like before, first we're going to let y equal 0, then we're going to let x equal 0. You'll find that the x-intercept is 9, 0, and the y-intercept is 0, -3. I had to pause the video and fix that. So the x-intercept is 9, 0, and the y-intercept is 0, -3. So let's look at how this looks on MyMathLab. So on MyMathLab, we're going to click on this, click to enlarge the graph. I'm going to move this box over so that we can see both the equation and the graph in the same screen. So what we're going to do this by hand is we're going to choose the linear tool. So you'll notice if I'm just hovering over that, it says line tool. So we're going to choose that one. And the first point we're going to pick is either the x or the y-intercept. So if you'll remember, the x-intercept was 9, 0, or the x-intercept is 9. So I'm going to put this point on 9. Now notice, I'm going to put it there. It's not at the right place. It's supposed to be at 9, 0. That point says 10, -2, so that's not right. And the y-intercept is supposed to be at -3, 0. So this graph is kind of small. I'm trying to do it on this PowerPoint, so you're going to have to play with it. But this will help me show you something that will help you with your homework. So these points aren't right. So what I'm going to do is I've put this line in here. So I'm going to click on this point. That's supposed to be the y-intercept. And the y-intercept, remember, is supposed to be 0, -3. So if you click on the point, you are able to edit these coordinates. That's a nice feature in case any of your problems that require you to plug in a fraction. This will work anytime you have to do graphing. So I'm going to change the coordinates. Remember, they're supposed to be 0, -3. Now I've got to change this one. Remember, that's not, the x-intercept is not 11, -1. Remember, the x-intercept is 9, 0. So I'm going to edit those coordinates and make the x-intercept be 9, 0. So once I've edited those, I know that these coordinates are correct. I'm going to save it and then check my answer, and that's how you do this on MyMathLab. All right. The next thing I want to do is show you how to do this on the calculator. So I went back to the other equation, 2x minus 4y equals -8. We want to graph this equation using the TI-83 or TI-84 graphing calculator. Some of you might be unfamiliar with it, and I don't want you to worry about that. We'll go over that together. So let me pull up my calculator. So remember, we want to be graphing that equation. I forget what the equation was. 2x minus 4y equals -8. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to go switch back and forth between the PowerPoint and the calculator. So to graph this on the calculator, you have to use this y equals button. Now you'll notice I left this equation there on purpose so that you could learn how to clear it. You're going to press this clear button to clear anything that was in there. You also want to click on the zoom button and zoom 6 so that everybody has a window that looks the same. And this window, you can see that if you click on window, shows that the minimum is -10, max 10 for x, same for y. So let me show you that again. So that means that the smallest x value is -10, the biggest is +10, smallest y -10, biggest y +10. We'll do more with that graphing throughout the semester, but these are just some of the basics. So what we have to do to graph is we have to write our equation solved for y. So let me flip back to the PowerPoint. And so what we're going to have to do is put the equation in y equals mx plus b form. You might remember that slope-intercept form. So I have to transform the equation so that it's in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to solve for y. I do that by subtracting 2x from both sides and then dividing both sides by -4. So the resulting equation is y equals x divided by 2 plus 2. That's the equation in slope-intercept form. That's the equation that we're going to be graphing, x over 2 plus 2. So that's what I have to plug into my calculator. So y is equal to, I'm going to use parentheses, x divided by 2. I'm like Dory, I forget what it was again. Let me go back to that PowerPoint and look. So it's supposed to be x divided by 2 plus 2. So x divided by 2, and then I'm going to add 2. And then if I press graph, that shows the graph. So there you have it. All right, good luck, folks. Please email me if you have any questions.